Hey everyone, now I'm going to show you what you can do with that data that you collected in SparkView using those temperature probes. So by now you all should have been able to save your experiment. I just called mine data test my experiment, .sbk lab, and I named my CSV file exported data.csv. You would probably have your name or names on this so you can better identify it. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take the raw data, which is basically all the numbers that was recorded by the probe into SparkView, and we're going to start a new Google Sheet. Okay. And that new Google Sheet is, well, first you're going to name it, and we'll just call it something like Peter Parker Sun Box Data or something like that. And now we're going to go under File, Import, and we are going to find on our Google Drive where that particular CSV file is. So mine comes up in the recent, wherever yours is, find it, select it, and then you are going to do insert new sheet, detect automatically, keep this checked, convert text to numbers, data, and formulas, and import the data. And what you're going to see is a new sheet is going to pop up here called exported data. And the first thing I want you to do is right click on this and say duplicate, because I like having an original copy of my data and I can mess around all I want with my copy. So I'm just going to work in this. Now, what you see here is a lot of information. Here's the date and time that this particular time run at time equals 0, the temperature was recorded. Okay. And this is the second run, and this is the third run, and the fourth run, and so forth. And you'll see as you scroll through the data, some of them go to 9.5 seconds, 8.5 seconds. This one goes to 13 seconds. This one goes to 11 and a half seconds. So I'm going to get to why that is important in a second. But I want to point something out. If I just go ahead and select everything right now, which you will not do ultimately, but I just want to show you, if I just go insert and do chart, and this time I'm actually going to choose, all of the data. It is working on creating a chart. It actually tries to graph the date and time, the temperature for each run. And it does a bar graph here. And you can change it to be a line graph and all this. Not exactly what we want here, okay? Now I'll explain why. So I'm going to just undo that. And again, we don't need to know the specific date and time. So I'm going to select, click on the letter, the column head, and right click, and I'm just going to say delete column. And I'm going to delete the column for the time and date for the next run. Same thing for run number 3. Same thing for the next run. And now all I have are times for run 1. And then if I expand this out, I could double click. That will automatically expand it. Double click. Double click. We got to make sure you have the black double arrow there to see everything. So now I've got times and temperature for run 1, run 2, run 3, and run 4. Now, when I'm graphing, if you remember the activity we did last time, we only had one set of X data and then 2 set of Y data. Well, here we have 4 runs. So we need 1 set of X data and 4 sets of Y data. So the question is, well, what X data, what times am I going to use? Run 1, 2, 3, or 4? Well, I'm going to pick the one that has the most data, because if I don't, then I'm going to have some Y coordinates with no X coordinates. So in other words, I find the one that's got the most data. That would be run number 3. And I'm going to leave it here for now. I'm going to eliminate run 1, the time that is. Eliminate the time for run 2. I'm keeping run 3, and I'm eliminating run 4. Okay, so now the only thing I want to do is make sure I get my X data in the A column. So to do that, I'm going to select the A column, right click and say insert one left. So now I've got a slot right here. And now I can basically take and select this data. I can do cut and paste, or if I get this selected, and you can tell it's selected because it's in light blue, there's a blue box around it. And then I basically click when it turns into a hand and I just shift it straight left like this. Okay. Now I got to get rid of this empty space. Now I'm going to right click and hit delete column. And now I have everything pretty much the way I want it to look, except I don't want to say time run 3 because this is the time for all the runs. And I'm just going to eliminate that word run 3. So now I've got all of my data in tabular form, much like you saw in the other activity, except instead of having 1x and 2y, I've got 1x and 4 sets of y data. So now it's very similar to what we did before. I'm going to start with the box where it says time and go in the lower right corner. So it includes my last time and my last set of data. Now what I can do is go to insert and say chart. And it's going to want to do a bar graph, I believe. But since I changed it on that last demo, I changed it to line chart. But I think a better choice would be the XY scatter, if I could find that. There it is, scatter points right here. I like this better. You can do different things with it. Line is okay, but you can tell there's some cleaning up that has to happen here. So we could do the cleaning up in a number of ways. You know a lot of it. Like, for example, I could double click on this title and I could just call this, Sunbox data for various colors and do something like time versus temperature. Okay. And I can leave my time here, but we don't know what this is. So I can, go back to my, chart and axes title, and I've got my chart title here. I can, go down and try to find, my title for my axes. So here I can change it to the different types. So I could do chart title, chart subtitle. In fact, it might be a good idea to call this the time versus temperature, and then just make the chart title be that bigger, Sunbox data for various colors, and get rid of that time versus temperature in the top section. Okay, and then I can go ahead and center this if I wish and do different things. But the bottom line is I've got my x-axis labeled time in seconds, and I want to make sure I change my vertical axis to read temperature. Now yours will probably be in Fahrenheit. Mine is in Celsius. So I'll just leave it in Celsius. Okay, and then it looks like we already have some kind of legend here. Now, what you should be able to do here is to change the actual colors of these. So you see how this blue, if I double click on the blue here on the dots, I had it just a second ago. Let's see here. I might have to click off of it a second. Anytime you can't select something, click off something else and then try going back. Like here's the blue. Now, if I wanted to say this was like my, my green paper run, I could just go click here and now it's green. So there's a lot more flexibility with Google Sheets and being able to take the data that SparkView collected for you, and effectively there's all stuff that you can do. You can move this chart to its own sheet. So now when I do that, now you can see the tab down here. I got a nice big chart to work with here. So what I want you to do is basically just do exactly what I did with your own data. And the thing I want you to do is change the colors so they match your runs. Okay. So if there's any questions, let me know. But your final product should be this Google Sheet. It'd be nice if you took a screenshot of this particular Google Sheet chart and included that, because that will make things go much quicker for me. as far as evaluating what you've done. Again, if you have any questions, let me know, and good luck.